Hi, everyone. Welcome. Somehow, they brought us back for episode 13, baby. We are here. Checked out Retail Stories podcast, Sprankle Brothers, Ryan and Doug since 1986. And, you know, we've done 12 episodes. This is number 13. We're still here. It's been a great time. Appreciate everybody watching and continue to watch on anything you watch on. Like us on everything you like because, hey, the more you guys support us, the more stories that we can tell. And it's really cool to be able to tell our stories, Doug.
You know what? Following, if you guys follow us, we can be friends. So I need you to follow. Hit the follow button. Go into your groups. Make sure it happens. But super excited today, Ryan. A lot of great things to talk about. Great guest coming up. Shane, man. Can't wait for Shane. It's going to be a great guest. A lot of good things happening. And I can't wait. I can't wait to tell you this week's retail history. It's me going.
Yeah, I was looking ahead. I try not to look ahead too much, but I was looking ahead and some great stuff coming up. Shane Schonecki is amazing. He's gonna be a great guest. So we're very excited.
Chojnacki.
Chojnacki. I think it's Chojnacki. Chojnacki?
It's all right.
Yeah.
He'll tell us.
Yeah, he'll tell us.
Can't wait though.
Yeah.
But guys, big shout out to our sponsor. And guess what? Woohoo! The man in the hat himself.
Michael Pace, everyone.
Guys, you got to wonder, Michael Pace is the brilliant mind behind skill games across the nation, creating an opportunity for small businesses, fraternal orders, and guys like us to continue to be successful. So we got a bobblehead made of him. Super excited. He's always watching, making sure we do the right thing. Mostly Ryan, but super excited to watch to do the right thing, and super excited to have our friends at PA Skill Alliance, who represent genuine PA skill games across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, to be our headline sponsor and our friends. So thank you so much for all the support. Guys, can't do what we do without you.
And remember,
it's skill, not luck.
Baby.
Woo!
Woo! All right, so let's get right into the episode 13, Origin Story. We like to tell you guys a little bit about, you know, our history. Plus, it's fun for us to kind of reminisce about family stories and different things growing up. And we were thinking this week it'd be kind of interesting. Obviously, this would be like 5 episodes, 10 episodes, 30 episodes, maybe a whole separate podcast if we went into the weeds. But the dynamic of you know, Dad, founder of the business, Doug, younger brother, by 6 years to me, 13 when Dad got the business, Dad and Mom got the business, and me, you know, the oldest, and I've been grinding the whole time, and, you know, how that dynamic has changed, because it's changed dramatically. I mean, when Dad and Mom bought the stores, or the first store, Leechburg, you know, I was 18. I was working in the weekend stocking shelves because we lived 2 hours away at the time in Huntington, PA. So it was a 2-hour journey, and I was working on the weekends, and Dad was grinding in the stores, working the store, I should say, one store, and then Mom was doing the paperwork and learning the retail accounting end on the back end from home, and you were 12. So he was trying to force you to work at the time. You're 12, so like, you know, you were in and out, whatever. And that's a crazy dynamic compared to modern day where, you know, we run the company together. You're the brains of the operation. You kind of come up with the new ideas. You know, I add in my flair. We manage it together. And, you know, Dad's a supporting role. So, I mean, you talk about 2 totally different dynamics, 30-year gap, and how it's changed.
You know, I look at it like an old rusty Pinto. When Dad started out, he was clean lines. His engine was roaring. He had every transmission. I think, is that a 4-speed or is it a 6-speed?
You know, you're asking the wrong dude.
I know. I'm not mechanical. But anyway, but I feel like every decade, just like we all do, he lost a little bit of zest, a little bit of zazz, a little bit of power in that engine.
Well,
I know.
He's 25 years older than he was at the time.
Right, but like it's funny if you
like
talk
6 years older.
If you're talking about him in different genres of the business, when he was 40, it was like, wow! Everything was like crazy. No matter what you did, it was not good enough, and you had to work harder, and you know, you were wrong. And then he got older, and he still had the attitude. Like literally, I got in a fight with him last week. Last week, he yelled at me about buying a computer, and I'm like, Dad. He's like, that's dumb. And I'm like, Dad, I love you, man, but I'm gonna buy this computer now. And he's like, no, that's dumb. I'm not going to let you buy it. And I'm like, Dad, I'm going to use my own credit card. He's like, I don't care. I'm like, oh my God. But like, it's funny though to have a character like that in your life that's always put a little bit of pressure on you to get you better.
Well, you know, one thing that's very true, and it's funny, like how it's changed, because you're right. He was a ball. Literally, his nickname in high school was Randy Wildcat. Red hair. You know, had a red afro. He's always been full vinegar. That's how he was as successful as he was. But, you know, all that vinegar kind of came out sometimes in, you know, pretty animated spirit. And now sometimes I think it still creeps up and comes out, but he's got to kind of correct himself. One thing I will say, and you'll experience this, you know, we both have sons. My son's 18, you know, going on 35. Your son's 4 going on 10. You'll find as your son grows older, it's really tough to like not think of him as that 4-year-old or 10-year-old or 12-year-old to say, okay, this guy's a man. It's tough to kind of, so I think sometimes when Dad's talking to us, yeah, maybe he's talking to this 45-year-old dude, but in his mind, maybe at the time, it's a 12-year-old Ryan. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, we just found out Pinto was a 4-speed.
Oh.
4-speed. So yeah, it's kind of ironic though, because I mean, really, he's been in the industry 25 years as an owner. So it's like 5 different gears. I think that every 5 years, he kind of, it gets a little rusty trying to shift that thing and hit the clutch at the same time. But to your point, though, it's interesting to see, the dynamic change, but still it's the same attitude. We both agree. We hit the parent lottery, right? When it comes to parents, we hit the parent lottery. Our parents, maybe more me than you, have been very supportive through some questionable times that we've made decisions on our own. But when you look at the whole process and you look at when you have a father that doesn't want you to fail and he doesn't want to fail, that's very powerful. Because you always find a way to get through it. You always find a way to burn into the next gear. And, you might be leaking oil. The gas tank might blow up any minute, but you're going to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
Get ready for the next challenge.
Yeah. His spirit has been passed on to us. And that's why a lot of times, some of our conversations, you and I have gotten a lot better. Actually, all 3 of us have gotten a lot better with our communication. There was once a time where the 3 of us couldn't make it through a 2-hour meeting without somebody walking out and, blowing up. I mean, but, that spirit and that fire, to your point, has always created, even if maybe we didn't agree and there was a blow up and somebody walked out, the next week the company was better because of whatever we were discussing. We've always used it thankfully, it's not as painful now as it was before in getting to the finish line, but every time we come out of it a little bit better.
I'm going to do it. Segway Stallion. Moving into what's happening. People have been asking, how do you guys not get into physical confrontations?
Oh my. You know what? As you get older, I think the biggest thing is I realize I'm 45 and, you're not 40 yet, but you're still 39, 40. We're not in the shape we once were. So if there is a time where we even think about physical altercation, it goes across the scroll. Listen, I personally have listened to probably 6 legitimate stories in my life about friends or family of friends, somebody that was over the age of 40, that in their mind, when they came to the physicality and the emotions are pumping and they're fired up, whether it be in a bar, whether it be somebody's saying something about their family, whether it be at work, they get to that point where they're like, okay, let's get physical. And they decide to take the plunge, but they think they're 18, but they're really 50 or 45. And they have, during the plunge, some kind of a cardiac situation, heart attack, stroke. I mean, I've heard of 5 or 6 of these encounters. So those stories stick in my mind. So when I get to the point with anybody that I'm just like, this could get physical. Somehow this could get physical. Thankfully, it's like my safety. It goes through, and I'm like, dude, you're not in any kind of situation where you're qualified to take this next level. So it causes me to kind of not stay in my ground, but back off a little bit.
Well, and to the same point, I always, shout out to John Dagger, one of my great sponsors in my life, helped me through a lot of times and he had great advice. He said, Doug, never do anything to embarrass your family. Not you. It's not about you. It's about your family. And I think how, you're there at the family get together, somebody says something inappropriate, me and you get in a tussle match. one of us has a stroke or a heart attack, dies. Now it's manslaughter at the family picnic.
Yeah.
So
And how awkward is
that?
that?
Don't want to go to jail. Don't want to go to jail. So
In the receiving line of the funeral home, let's say it's you that lives and I stroke out. You're there receiving. Oh, so sorry to hear about Ryan passing. I was so close to my man. How did he go? Yeah, what he said. Oh, well, he was in the middle of like literally trying to rip my throat out of my throat and he stroked out. Like that's not a good farewell story for your fans and friends.
no, and plus I'll be on an ankle monitor, so that probably wouldn't be good either. But no, Ryan, it's funny talking about physical confrontation and combat sports and wrestling. Our guest today is going to be a great guest. We have Shane Schonecki, a.k.a. Savage Gentleman, a.k.a. Mr. November, the monster of Midway, the guy that created Snowmageddon with a car flying around. His actual car was a side-by-side. His brother picks him up. They go on a side-by-side journey. I think it's well over 100,000 views. But it was a great show. That's how we found the guy. But you know what? He's a professional athlete, multiple sports. He's done professional wrestling. He's done boxing. He's done been a part of All Elite Wrestling, AEW, National Alliance, and the Wrestling Cartel. But he's also a big trainer at Wright's Gym right here in Pittsburgh, guys. Great trainer, social media guy, knows what he's doing in those. And that all together has created the opportunity for him to be a banana ball player.
I was going to say undefeated. He's undefeated.
He's undefeated MMA member.
Undefeated, 3-0. As they would say in the movie The Fighter, got up, Wahlberg, great movie, another great movie to add to your list, everyone. Got up off the couch, say, hey, you want to fight an MMA fight? Sure. Threw him in the octagon. What do? Won.
Did it.
Didn't lose.
No.
Yeah.
Can't wait, though.
And now banana ball player.
But now banana ball player. He's coming up right here in a few minutes.
Remember the thrill of your first childhood game, maybe tic-tac-toe? Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games recaptures that excitement, offering easy-to-play, win-every-time experiences at your favorite local spots. Imagine a game where a little skill consistently turns credits into cash prizes, a game you can enjoy with others and even help them win. No need to just imagine. Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games, championed by the PA Skill Alliance, are real. Go to paskillalliance.org for more information. Shane, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you being on here. And, before we go into the details, I kind of started this conversation beforehand, but, you said you're 40.
Yeah.
Doug's almost 40.
Working on it.
I'm in my mid-40s. I'm 45, and I had like a awakening this year. And I said, okay, I'm going to get in shape. So, I'm working out a hard 28 minutes a day with a faster way, 5 times a week. I'm, really going hard at it, But, what does it take? I mean, how many hours a day to look like you at 40?
This is 20 years of accumulation, right? I've been a professional athlete for 2 decades now. But the good thing is I am a personal trainer also. So I get to run my own programs. I get to help everyone else get in shape. So you got some needs? I got you.
There we go.
And you're located right here in the Pittsburgh market, correct?
Correct.
Where's your gym located?
Grafton. It's called Wright's Gym. Fitness, fighting, self-defense, anything you want, you name it, I got it.
Well, with some of the daily meetings we have with different customers and crew and firings and hirings and all this stuff, sometimes I wonder, man, should I know more moves than just what Mr. Wilson taught me, Coach Wilson taught me 9th grade wrestling? I mean, I can get somebody on the ground, but I don't know about after that.
Hey, majority of all fights end up on the ground, so you're good there. Just watch out for that punch.
Hey, elbows are real, guys.
Yeah.
Elbows are real.
Oh, yeah. These don't lie. You see how pointy that thing is? That's years of training.
Oof. So Shane, you started your career off. Was it professional wrestling first, or did that start? Then you did MMA, or walk us through a little bit of your professional career in athletics.
Yeah, so I started in high school wrestling. My senior year, I was an athlete in baseball, football, hockey, but then transitioned to wrestling. That led me to my mixed martial arts career at 20. I had no idea what I was doing. I stepped in the gym. The trainer was like, all right, let's get on the mats. Let's see what you got. I tapped him out somehow. I don't know what happened. All I did was watch some Gracie DVDs. And next thing you know, 2 months later, I had my first fight. I was 1-0. 2 weeks following that, I was 2-0. Then I transitioned to professional wrestling 10 years later. I've traveled the world. I've taught seminars all across the world. I've defended championships. I've main evented in Paris, France. It's like life has been a whirlwind over these last 2 decades. And now my most recent adventure in athletics is Banana Ball, where I just signed a full-time contract with the firefighters as part of the calendar crew.
That's awesome. I mean, so to get into that sport, I mean, obviously, it's not so much combat sports. We're talking about, baseball. Did you have baseball background in college or high school?
Never went to college.
Okay.
I focused on athletics my entire adult life, I guess you could say. But in high school and before high school, I played baseball. But I haven't played baseball in numerous decades. So, we're good because I'm going to be in an entertainer role. So it fits perfectly to my character. There's a bunch of other pro wrestlers on my squad. The crew has 5 other guys, so there's 6 of us total. We're all pro wrestlers, and none of us are stranger to a crowd.
Let me ask you this, Shane. Did you see the latest interview on the Logan Paul podcast with Tom Brady about whether or not Logan Paul was truly a premier athlete based on his wrestling and how they went back and forth on that? Did you see that yet?
I have not seen that.
Oh, you need to check that out. I just saw it yesterday. Okay. And Tom Brady's like, he's talking like above him for a minute, like elite athletes. And Logan's like, whoa, wait a minute, bro. Like,
yeah,
did you not see me just do a double backflip onto a man that was moving at me at the time? Like, because
right.
there was like a little bit of back and forth, little uneasiness there, back and forth. But, I just watched the Ric Flair Netflix documentary, and I was like, wow, this is crazy what goes into this.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand what it actually takes and requires from an athletic standpoint, because everyone deems it as fake. But yeah, it's scripted. So is the movie you watch. So are all the reality TV shows that you watch. If you go to a live play, that's the closest thing that you're going to get to what professional wrestling is, except we're actually live action stuntmen. We don't get do-overs. We're our own managers, our own bookers, right? We have to put everything into this, not to mention the countless hours of training, not just wrestling and holds and maneuvers, but gymnastics, right? If Logan's going to be doing backflips through the air, off the ropes, 20 feet, and landing it, let's talk about the Olympics, because they're going on right now. That's the caliber of athlete that we are. And that's why I think I'm capable of doing so many. I'm a multi-sport professional athlete, right? I've done jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, mixed martial arts, professional wrestling. And now, you throw Banana Ball into that, right? It's the perfect storm of what I've done. And it gets to allow me to do my athletic features while entertaining an audience. So I want to see Tom Brady entertain a crowd and not have a microphone up his butt, It's hard. It's a lot harder than it looks, and no one gives us credit for actually the talent that it requires.
Basically, that was Logan's response. You have to check it out. It's pretty. Yeah. He stood pretty good for it. He was respectful, but he stood pretty good for it.
Now, yeah. Shane, with both sports, obviously, you completed the combat sport well with the shooting and the show wrestling, being that they're professional wrestler and MMA practitioner. Question, when you're recovering from the events or the fights, what do you feel is it harder to recover from the wrestling or from the UFC fight or the mixed martial arts fight?
100% pro wrestling.
That's interesting. So
Wow. Instant response.
what was like, so walk us through that. What was like because a lot of people see the fight, they'll see the show, but they don't understand that there's an afterwards. So like, walk us through like what that looks like from your point of view of recovering from it.
The best analogy I can give you is there's an image that floats around on the internet from time to time. It's a ballerina's feet in the slippers. One has a slipper on and it's beautiful. The other one, the slipper is removed and it's bloody, it's mangled, it's taped. That's pro wrestling. What you see that we do out there live for everyone is that's the pretty part. What they don't see is the aftermath or even the before, where we're limping into a show, we're traveling from city to city, we're running on 0 hours of sleep because we're hopping on planes, flying from one to the next, and going out there performing and giving everything we got for 10 to 20 minutes at a time. Wow, because it's fake. We got to remember our choreography. We got to remember the timing, and we still got to go perform as if nothing's wrong.
And you're exhausted.
Of course. Absolutely. It's tiring. Like, that's real. Like, we might not be hitting each other in the mouth 100%, but don't get it wrong, right? I've had neck surgery. I've had bicep surgery. It's real. It's as real as it gets, just in a different fashion.
Well, when I hit an imaginary speed bag on my little 29-minute workout against air, and I'm huffing and puffing. I mean, that's what nobody hit me back. I'm not even hitting anything. That's just against air, So I mean,
that's no adrenaline dumps. Because that's the biggest factor is being able to fight through your second wind.
Mm.
But pro wrestling to mixed martial arts, you have to let another human throw you in pro wrestling. Mixed martial arts, you resist that. So you have a grown man, my size, 225 pounds, lifting you, throwing you through the air. You got to land somewhere. Well, guess what? That's not a trampoline. What you don't see is under that canvas is there's a little inch layer of padding, but below that is wooden boards and steel beams.
It sounds intense.
To say the least. To say the least. I think about that actually.
I am a savage after all, so it's kind of what I'm into.
And then obviously the prep work. I mean, beyond the lifting and obviously, I mean, your cardio and everything else. I mean, the eating has to be crazy as far as being calculated with that and the amount of food. I mean, to maintain a 220-pound frame with low body fat. I mean, how many calories do you mow down a day?
It's probably in excess of 5,000 calories every day. I don't track exactly everything every day, but I mean, my protein intake alone is around 400 grams a day.
Wow.
Do you ever get tired of eating?
Absolutely. Every day. As soon as we're done here, I'm actually going to go eat a meal.
Wow. I have a question for you. We're like weird stat people, We like to look up random crazy stats no one else maybe would ever think about looking up because our brains are wired strange. But and for the record, as a wrestler in high school, I only wrestled 1 year and I was 0-22. So I mean, gives you perspective. But hey, the way I look at it, I stayed the course. I stayed the course.
Damn right.
I could have quit. I didn't quit. But the question is, we asked chat, just like everybody does. You ask chat random questions. We asked chat, how many on average, the average grown woman, female, and the average grown male in a fight, how many females does it take to defeat the average male? If everything's even, athleticism, weight, how many females to defeat a man? And we asked chat that. How many do you think it was?
I'm curious because I know I train with some bad women, and it takes one. Right? And sometimes these chicks are smaller than us.
Yeah.
Like, they don't play around. Like, I've been in cages, training areas, right, with top tier professional fight women that they hit harder than a lot of dudes. So we got to talk about the levels of training here.
Everything equal. Everything equal. Background equal. Training equal.
One. I'm one.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't argue because we're surrounded by strong women. But three. It takes three on average to defeat the average man. So my question is this. I'm what I consider to be average 45-year-old male. I'm 195 pounds, average guy. In your opinion, I'm just curious, how many of me would it take to defeat a 195-pound, well-trained MMA fighter?
5.
Five. Wow, instantly.
Have you ever seen a Jackie Chan movie or any Bruce Lee movies?
Yeah.
We got arms, that's 2. We got 2 legs, and then we got a torso, that's 5. You got to stop all of that.
Oh man, I'm gonna stick to my day job.
I don't want to be I don't want to be the first Ryan to take a hit. I mean, that guy's gonna get hurting.
Yeah, the first guy that comes at the guy is gonna be absolutely demolished.
Anytime I teach people self-defense, I let them know the first shot sets the tone.
That's a good point.
Makes sense.
Send a message.
So if I ever do clone myself, I'll make sure that I'm the 5th guy.
Well, if you're cloning yourself, add a couple stats to it. Add it like Madden game.
Let's go with 8.
Yeah.
Unlock the cheat code.
There we go.
So Shane, what possessed you? We were scrolling during the Snowmageddon. We were obviously having our crazy problems with stuff happening. What possessed you to get into the side by side? And who was with you in the side by side? And did you have like more people? Because it seemed like there was like 2 in the video.
It was my brother, my friend, and my sister.
Okay. And so you guys decided to walk us through that, because if you don't mind, we're gonna show it on the channel. We love the video.
So my brother Devin posted a video of him driving through the Liberty tunnels. And I called him. I was like, you better be coming to pick me up because I live in downtown. He said, put your clothes on. I'll be there. He's a maniac. He has a lot of acres. He has big land. He has all the toys. He was driving around all day. Well, just like many Yinzers, I was stuck in the house all day. My truck was snowed in. I was content. I was comfortable. And I'm just scrolling social media. And I see this video of him. I'm like, oh, here we go. Little did I know what I was getting into. I should have known because he's a maniac. I love him. But we had so much fun driving through downtown.
That's amazing. You hit all the great sites. I saw PNC, obviously Hines. Was there any point where you're like, man, it's getting pretty cold? I mean, because it was a pretty cold storm, and it was probably with wind chill, 5 degrees.
It was definitely colder than that. My beard, when I got home, my beard was literally frozen. I had icicles in my beard. You look at the one part of the video, we were doing donuts in the middle of downtown, and I'm on the outside of the donut swing, so all the snow's brushing up. My whole face, my beard, everything's covered in snow.
Oh, my gosh. And then at what point, so like, did you guys just call it, or I mean, like, how did it end? Did you guys just say, that was fun, but I'm getting too cold, or like, what was the who was the voice of reason at the end there?
Oh, it was my brother. He was out all day. He was like, all right, I think we had enough fun.
And I'm guessing
we were out for about an hour.
Okay, so it was an hour, and then that was a highlight video. So, obviously we see you have a great social media following. For people out there that are inspired by your video, obviously, and things of that nature. And what can you get some advice to the people out there creating digital content for the mass media? What's some advice you can give?
One thing is remain true to yourself, but also deliver value. Right? I'm very, very big on promoting motivational advice and encouraging people to do what they want, to chase their dreams. I live a very unique lifestyle, a bucket list lifestyle, if you will. I was able to do so many things through God's blessings. And, the most recent thing coming above is Banana Ball, right? Like I never thought in a million years I would be there, and I'm here, and I'm so truly grateful. And I'm going to be a full-time content creator as well as a Banana Ball cast member. So what I would have to say to everyone is trust the process, because you're not going to get the views at first. You're not going to get the quality at first. It's taken me years of practice, many mistakes. I'm still not perfect, but every day you get a little bit better. That's whether it's in life, whether it's in the gym, whether it's your diet. Just consistency is key.
Boy, isn't that the truth? That's what we found, the same thing. I mean, we've done our thing as grocers growing up, and it's the same thing. It's the daily, literally, no pun intended, grind. I mean, it's just rinse and repeat, do the right things, keep trying new things, and
Be consistent. Be consistent.
Just that, exactly. Like, and I try to explain to people, like, I got a lot of personal training clients. I do a lot of training online with other people all across the country, all across the world, even. And I let them know you're not going to see the results immediately, but compounded interest of time spent will pay off.
Let me backtrack a little bit, Shane. Let me ask you a question. So this is based on a true scenario that just came to my head when I was wrestling. My own 22 process. Now, I was a freshman. I was a decent athlete, played a bunch of sports. So they're like, hey, go out for wrestling. You'll get a little bit better for football, better tackler. And they were right. But anyways, they put me at 145, and I was a fool. I was like 140. I was like 140. They had me wrestle up because the other guy was better. So, yeah. So I'm 140 wrestling, 145, first year ever wrestling as a freshman. That's one of the reasons I was 22. I like to say that, throw that in, just, make it so people don't think I just trip over my feet. But I finally, after I was 0-22, after the 14th match, I'll never forget, match number 14 or 15, I was so surprised by it. I took a kid down, and I had him on his back. And I remember I was so amazed at that. Even in the, because wrestling, man, your adrenaline's flowing and you're exhausted. Yeah. I always say wrestling 2 minutes is the hardest thing I've ever done. But anyways, I had this guy on his back, and I'm like, I looked up at my coach. I said, what do I do now? I'd never been in that spot before. So the question is, if you could go back and tell 15-year-old Ryan, hey, this is when you got a guy in that spot, here's how you finish it.
So it's funny because I was in that same exact predicament. Our team was undefeated for 2 years before me joining. And the match came down. I'm one of the last spots on the team. I also had to wrestle up. So I'm very, very familiar. I get on the mats. This dude, he looks like me. I was wrestling at 140. I'm like, what the heck? Right? And he's smoking me. And it was just it clicked. And I think I've used this every day as motivation moving forward, right? What you don't see is the mental stress, right? Be stronger than your mind will allow. If you can break the barriers to which you confine yourself to, there is nothing that you're capable of. And next thing you know, guys on top of me, I roll them over, and they're telling me, first off, they send me out there not to get pinned, right? That was my job, to not get pinned. And I end up pinning this dude. I changed the tide for the whole season. We swept that match. We went on, stayed undefeated. I made it to regionals my very first year. And like I said, I've been living this life ever since.
That's amazing. I mean, that's, Ryan, so maybe if you can go back in time machine, you can solve the pinning issue.
Basically, I got to dig deeper.
Yeah. So
you got to dig deep. You
got to find a new way. Shane, so we were told that obviously you have a great story to tell the Checked Out Podcast fans today. What's the story?
Yes. So I'm a personal trainer, and I had opportunity to open my own gym. It was amazing, state-of-the-art facility here in Pittsburgh. We're just outside of Pittsburgh in the Franklin Park area. We had custom metric tracking technology on the heavy bags, the lights, the fancy everything, right? Nothing Pittsburgh's ever seen before. But we failed, So I took that as motivation. I had bad business partners, nothing you can do about that, right? We put $250,000 into this, and it took longer, permits, the area, right? Code enforcement, anything and everything that you could possibly think of was against us, right? We even put our budget and ad spend on a credit card to market leading up to the grand opening. The credit card was bad, so the marketing and budget never went through. Something happened, and everything slipped through the cracks. But I used that because that felt like, all right, this is my next big thing. Here we go. I got my own gym, and I had a lot of hype because of my social media, because of my following and doing all of the combat arts. Everyone was excited. 2 months later, I dissolved that partnership. It was not beneficial. I mean, we had a retail store inside the gym. We had supplements. We partnered with I think 3 or 4 other local businesses, right? We were selling. We had all the products, all the merchandise, the gym memberships, recovery, state of the art, top of the line. But it just goes to show when you invest everything, it doesn't mean that it's the right time. God will close one door to open a better one. He will isolate you and break you down for you to grow in order for you to achieve your true success.
Boy, we've lived that. I'll tell you what, we listening to your story, it just brings back. I mean, we have a total throughout our journey in 30 years. Our parents started the business and we followed and joined. And in 30 years, we've had 7 stores at one point, off and on, and now we have 3. And to your point, at the time that the ones that weren't quite there for actually similar reasons to what you just, I mean, it was like the laundry list. I was just literally going through the checklist. And every one of those instances where we had, what you might call failure, it elevated the brand. It helped us to get better. And
you don't lose, you learn. You don't lose, you learn. You put them together, that's a W. You win all day.
Well, that's awesome. We appreciate it, Shane. Thanks so much for coming on the Check That podcast today. Real inspiration. Super excited about seeing you out there on the banana ball field, with the firefighters. Can't wait. And is that the Mr. November name?
That is the Mr. November name. Yeah, I'm part of the calendar crew. We got a couple other guys with different months. I'm so excited. Like, this is that new journey that God has blessed me with. And I'm so incredibly thankful to be a part of this organization. It's the greatest show in sports.
100%. Well, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you on the field, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
day.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
See ya. PA Skill players seek genuine PA Skill games. How can you tell the real from the imitation? The PA Skill Alliance offers a 4-step identification process to help you find genuine PA Skill games. 1. Check for logos. Does the machine display official Pennsylvania Skill Game logos? 2. Look for Powered by Pace-O-Matic. Is it Powered by Pace-O-Matic visible on the game's case? 3. Assess business reputation. Is the game a reputable business? Genuine PA Skill games were not intended to be standalone businesses. 4. Examine game style. Is it a tic-tac-toe style game that offers the option to win every time? Help combat fraudulent skill games by exclusively playing genuine PA Skill Alliance supported games. Discover more at paskillalliance.org.
So we're back, guys. What a great interview. Thanks again, Shane. Really appreciate it, man. Good luck at Banana Ball. Can't wait to follow you. Can see you on the field doing amazing things as Mr. November.
And now, it's one of my personal favorite segments. It's retail stories from around the world. And again, it comes from our own country, in the U.S. of A., Saginaw, Michigan. If you ever heard the song Saginaw, Michigan?
No, but what does it sound like?
Dun, 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 dun. In Saginaw, Michigan.
Huh.
I'm a son of a Saginaw fisherman. I don't know. It's
So
a country
it's a
song.
real song you make
Oh,
up.
no, it's a true
Yeah,
story.
sometimes you make up.
Yeah, look it up. Saginaw, Michigan. Yeah, it's a country song from like a long time ago. But anyways, from Saginaw, Michigan, the Target there, a customer brings in jerky that, they bought at the Target, obviously. They bring in the jerky and, they go to the manager or go to the customer service area. They're like, we got to return this jerky. And then, sorry, ma'am, like, what's the problem with the jerky? Like, looks, whatever. They couldn't see the label too much. She's like, this jerky is just way too salty. I mean, we've all, in retail, you get a lot of customer returns, but you always want to like figure out, why, what happened? Because A, you want to make sure the customer's good moving forward. You want to make sure it's a legit return. And if it's, you want to get as much information as possible so that you can correct it so you don't have future returns. And so, this is just way too salty. I took this jerky home. I've only had it in my house a couple days. Took it out, took a couple bites. I mean, it's way too salty. Like, oh, well, okay. Let me see the package. Looking for dates, looking for whatever in the package, and the next thing you know, flip the package. It said jerky on the package, but it was for dogs. It was dog. It was dog treats. It did say jerky, but it was dog treats. So this lady took these dog treats home, ate them, realized they were salty, brought them in, not thinking or looking depth. I don't know what was happening with this lady, but she brings it in. She's seriously like thinking something's wrong with this jerky. And the lady's like, ma'am, trying to be respectful. This is for dogs. It's for dogs. It's for dogs. And the lady was so like embarrassed. She's just like, okay, fine. Turns, walks out, just walks out, doesn't say another word. And the lady, the manager waited and held it together. And as soon as that lady went through the doors, man, she was just literally dying, telling everybody about this. So for those of you out there, you see jerky on a bag, you're just in a hurry running through the grocery store, just double check that there's not a dog somewhere on that package. And for those of you that want to try dog jerky, it's going to be a little salty.
Remember PetSmart back in the early 2000s?
I do.
They had all the human-looking foods at the checkout.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like a cookies, but it's for your dog. It was basically to make it look like human food to give your dog as a dog treat, so it wasn't human food.
Oh.
But it was a bar.
So to trick you up.
Right, well, it was to trick the dog to thinking it was the human food.
Yeah, because they want the human food.
It was good for them.
Okay.
But they had this whole like conveyor of it, and it was funny. Like you know that somebody once a week was like, "Hey, free cookie."
Or some kids. I could see like a bunch of high school guys, especially going in. Hey, how much you give me if I try one of these? I mean, I guarantee that happened a ton.
Oh yeah, I used to do it all the time at the store.
Yeah, I guarantee it. I mean, I've eaten a ton of dog food in my life. I mean, honestly.
Still here?
Still kicking. Maybe higher. Maybe the protein was good. Maybe the salt. I don't know.
For that weird growth, but
Yeah.
who's judging?
Yeah. Well, it's time. One of my personal favorites this week in retail history with Doug.
So this is actually super current. This is like this year, February 12th, a free grocery store opened up in New York City as part of the campaign. It's the Poly Market. It opened in New York City. When people think of Poly Market, like it's a weird name for a store, but Poly Market is actually cryptocurrency. It's a promotion. So Poly Market gave the city of New York $1 million in free grocery goods donated to the food bank and to tackle the insecurity and acts in the high stakes real world marketing stunt. So here's the crazy thing though. Have you seen crypto lately?
You know what? I haven't followed it. I really have. I haven't followed it since that Matt Damon commercial in the Super Bowl a few years ago where I forget, but it was a famous commercial. But
yeah. So crypto dropped like 80%. It was like,
oh, wow.
It's not great.
Wasn't it like, I feel like it was like good, then bad, real bad, then really good. That's the last I checked.
No, it's not really good anymore. It's like horrible. It's horrible. And like, one of the things that's funny about media is depending on which side of the fence you like to look at it, they're like saying, oh, a free grocery store is going to work. It's going to be great. Meanwhile, they basically took a massive hit on the thing. And, so when they look at the store, think about all the work it's done. The store is only going to be open for 1 week. So it's only going to be open from the 12th through the 16th. So it's what, 4 days? 4 days. 5 days? 4 days. And it's designed to bridge the physical world with the cryptocurrency prediction market. Well, you typically bet on the events. So the idea is that the cryptocurrency promotion of it is going to create a need, therefore raising the crypto price to offset the free groceries. But you can just literally walk in. There's no limits. There's no rules. And whatever you think you need that day is what you fill up your cart.
I mean, from our experience of, building, opening, remodeling grocery stores, everything that goes into that, I feel like there's a lot easier ways to promote whatever you're trying to promote. I could probably sit here and list 1,000 ways that you could do it that's easier than developing and opening a grocery store for 1 week. And whenever that opens, I feel like we should take a trailer, go up there, buy everything, or take everything, whatever it is, and then bring it back and
supposedly
market half price for our customers.
It's only shelf-stable goods. So you're not getting save it on me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or produce. You're just getting like canned SpaghettiOs or whatever it may be.
I got you.
But it's going to be interesting to see, though. But I mean, talking about a stunt, some people say, oh, well, free grocery stores, that's what we're going to do to combat inflation. I'm like, inflation, it's commodity based, it's cost of goods based, it's employee based as far as your wages. I mean, there's so many factors that go into the grocery business. To just do this is going to give the wrong image to a lot of people, and it's going to be like, oh well, why can't it be like New York City with that free grocery store? It was open for 4 days.
Well, I will say this from a promotional standpoint. I mean, here we are, just a couple of Yinzer grocers in Western PA, and we're talking about it on the podcast. So I don't know.
Valid story.
Maybe. Ding. Just still seems like a lot of planning, a lot of work, a lot of money.
Just so you know, if you try to open a free grocery store with my name on it, disowning you.
Wow. I mean, it's hard enough operating a non-free grocery store. So if I ever open another grocery store, which I'd be amazed, but if it happens, there's no way it could be free unless I like hit the Powerball and just feel like giving back to the community. But in that case, I'll just say the Salvation Army food pantry. Here's
to the same point. Yeah, that's more of a here you got 4 days to clean the store out. Cause after that, we're locking the doors,
right?
Throwing the keys in the drain and walking out.
Genuine PA Skill Games, powered by Pacematic and supported by PA Skill Alliance, are dedicated to fostering growth throughout the Commonwealth. These games have been instrumental in supporting local fraternal orders, fire companies, bars, and retailers by keeping businesses operational, maintaining employment, and funding community projects. With over 5,000 communities across Pennsylvania, it's highly probable that Genuine PA Skill Games are working hard behind the scenes in your area. They ensure the vitality of our main streets, restaurants, bars, and stores. By supporting PASkillAlliance.org, you are investing time in your community, employing your neighbors, and contributing to local nonprofits. Together, we can help keep Main Street open for business.
Ryan, this week's retail story.
This week's retail story takes us back to Vandegraaff store. A lot of great memories of the Vandegraaff store. Bought that off of the Oliver family in 2007, and we operated it till 2017 when we eventually sold it to, got a nice offer and sold it to Dollar General, and used that money to then redo the Katanning and Leechburg locations. But at Vandegraaff, there was a ton of good stories, and the crew was really a special crew. But one of the most notable stories that stands out, and Kelly, shout out to Kelly Petrella, our Leechburg Bakery Deli manager, she reminded me of this story. One day, back then, it was a small grocery store, so when the meat manager was off, or he was an older guy, Norm Rocher, legendary meat guy from way back. But at times he would go in for procedures. He was an older guy, and I would cover while he was on, getting healed up. And so it was one of those times I was covering. I was cutting meat. It was late morning, early afternoon, cutting meat, and we make our own meatloaf. It's a very popular item. We use his recipe, and but I hadn't done the recipe in a while, so it was. I was in a hurry. It was old school recipe. It's not like it was written down. It was like, you got to remember it. So I threw what I thought into this meatloaf, mixed it up, whatever, and put it in the oven. When the bakery's all done for the day and everybody's done with the ovens, before they turn the ovens off, you throw the meatloaf in. This last thing, about an hour and a half, 45 minutes, you're in good shape. Well, I get the cutting, and as well as I, like, when you're the owner, or at the time, owner's son, and you're pulled in a million directions while you're trying to do whatever task you're trying to do. So I'm trying to cut meat. Maybe a vendor needs me. Maybe there's a problem up front. Maybe somebody calls off or needs a break at the register. You cover register, whatever it may be. You get distracted, but you're still trying to cut this meat. So in all the chaos, I just kind of lost track of the meatloaf. And like the way we had the schedule structured at the time, it was a smaller store. We didn't want a bunch of people clogging up the aisles while people were shopping. So after about 1 o'clock, everybody but the key deli service providers went home. So there wasn't anybody really watching the ovens. And so, hour 45 go by, slips to mind that there's even meatloaf anywhere. Out of sight, out of mind, literally. And all of a sudden, I'm back cleaning up the saw, and I hear fire. I'm like, what is happening? It still didn't register because I had totally forgotten about the meatloaf. Next thing I know, there's fire alarms going off. People are saying, get everybody out of the store. Then I'm like, whoa. As a retailer, as the owner's son, I'm like, we can't have everybody out of the store. Nobody's going to shop. You can't have sales if everybody's out of the store. So it's funny how you're trained as a retailer's son. Like, and this just being honest, like, you obviously care about people, but like the first reaction is, wait, no, we got to keep everybody in the store. So I'm like, whoa, everybody, people, fire alarms going off. There's smoke alarms going off. And here I am being a well-trained grocer's son. Whoa, but we can't get everybody out of the store. Meanwhile, I didn't even, at that time, it took me a minute to really figure out where it was coming from. And then finally, somebody's like, fire in the oven. And there's like flames coming out of the oven. Well, it's too late to shut the breaker off. The fire's already going. By the time you shut the breaker off, it takes an hour to cool. There's freeze mode. It's like one of those moments where everything stops, you can hear your heart pounding. And like, at that point, it's like the war movie where people are like talking in slow motion. Finally, I gathered myself. I'm like, I grabbed the fire extinguisher. I'm sitting there with the fire extinguisher, and Kelly's there, and she's like, and I'm like, and she's like, what? I said, does anybody know how to use this thing? There's people leaving. There's people fleeing the store. And the three people that trusted me to stay, like, this guy's got it under control. I said, I know how to use this thing. And it was before nobody Googled it and stuff, So and finally I figured it out. And I freaking spray the thing. It took forever to clean. It was a nightmare. But we got the fire out. Everybody was safe. Miraculously, nothing was damaged but it was a chaotic afternoon. That's the Vandegraaff meatloaf fire story.
I just have so many questions.
I bet.
So many. Starting with, so what was your fat and beef content? Obviously, did you do pork, beef, or how did you mix it?
Well, looking back, the problem was I being an efficient, how I am efficiency. Instead, I wanted to get everything in one session and a couple trays. So, normally you have those preformed plastic containers or whatever they are. Not plastic, but not plastic. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You form them with the plastic, but then you put them into the shapers, whatever they are.
It's like a loaf pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you form it with these plastic things. You put it into the loaf pans. You put it in there slide it in all together. And being the overly aggressive guy, let's power it up a little bit. Let's go above and beyond. So I made them way too big, way too much. So, and then, I'm just throwing in ingredients. So it goes in there and then the other thing is, by the time this happened, it was like 2.5 hours in. So overbaked the situation, but then I had them stacked too high. So they overflowed, everything overflowed through the oven, created the fire. The cleanup between the extinguisher, between all I was there like into the evening cleaning. It was a night. I mean, I learned my lesson that day, believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. I mean, flames were flying out of this. It was like somebody it was like the war movies where the guy's got the blowtorch. I mean, it was like crazy.
Think about the price of admission here, right? So you are allowed, with no commercial cooking experience, to operate a commercial oven, to put as much crap as you want in it, and trial and error, like with no training.
The only thing I knew was the time. I knew it should be an hour and 40 minutes, but like I said, I'd totally forgotten about it.
You didn't temp it?
Well, no, I mean, you do, but like, we've done it so many times. It's an hour and 40 minutes at like 360, hour and 40 minutes, like in those shapes. It's like clockwork. Like I knew that, so I had that going for me. The problem was, and what I do now, and what I found out later, everybody does it, and everybody's been doing it. You set a timer, because you're going to get distracted, you're going to get busy. So you set a timer, an alarm of some sort that's going to go off and you set it as soon as you put it in there, and it takes care of everything. But in that case, I'm just like back there whistling, cleaning the saw, listening to music, and then chaos.
Yeah, one thing I love about you as a human, this is just as a younger brother, you're not the kind of guys like, I'm going to research, make sure I know all the parameters of the situation. You're like, nah, I don't have time for that. We're just going to figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
I mean, like the fire extinguisher is pull the pin and pull it. And I can just see there like, why would some moron put plastic on this thing so you can't even pull the pin? Why? And then you're like, do you know why? And then you blame the manufacturer. You're like, they should have not put that on there. They should have said, listen, you should pull the trigger, you should go. There shouldn't be any delay.
Well, you know what? That's funny. You said you know me well, because that is what I was thinking. I'm like, this is supposed to be a safety mechanism, and when you need it, you got to go through a 5-step program of how to get the freaking safety mechanism off before you get. It's funny, you know, because I was very frustrated at the time, and I remember I was like blaming the manufacturer for like putting all these, you know, impediments in front of my situation trying to save the store.
After this story, I think we're going to change how we do the weekends call thing. Saxburg will be good. Just let Saxburg kind of do its own thing. I can see you now pulling the Ansel system and be like, what? It was hot. I hit the Ansel system. I'm like, dude, you just cost me $10,000. Oh.
Well, I do know how to operate a fire extinguisher now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, I did learn from it.
Safety first.
Yeah. But she reminded me of that. Thanks again, Kelly, because that was the great story. I forgot about it.
The Great Fire of Vandegraaff.
The great fire, Meatloaf Fire, Vandegraaff, circa 2014. And now, everyone, retail trends with Doug.
So we talked a lot about our friends at Sheetz and their MTO business and how that really created basically an idea that it's okay to eat really good food at gas stations. And we see that all over the world, and they call it the death of the roller grill. So remember, like the original gas, we had these too at the store for a while, but you'd have a hot dog on a little steam roller and then just keep on rolling the hot dog, and you know, eventually it just turned into like this shriveled piece of meat. But like, yeah, people think of that when they think of gas stations. So when we talk about stores, we talk about C stores and then full retail stores and then grocery stores. C stores are like your gas stations and convenience stores, bodegas, and cities. So, you know, the newest trend right now is that major chains are moving away from traditional snacks and towards high quality prepared meals. So part of the reason we see a downturn in fast food business is that people are now combining the trips into your gas station and your food at the same time. And, you know, if you look at the inspiration of this, and they've been doing it for a long time. So I go to right below Rome, Italy. I go on the Autostrada. And between Rome and Naples.
Fancy name.
Autostrada. How cool is that?
It's great.
So there's the Auto Grill, which sounds just like, when I hear the word Auto Grill, I'm like, it sounds like generic, right?
Yeah, I mean, the old gas station food, gas station, whatever, Auto Grill, like, especially in the old automobile industry, you got a guy working on something, greasy hands, whatever. He's right next to the hot dog roller. You're like, whoa.
They just fixed the gas pumps.
Is that the guy? Are they trying to save some labor? You got to ask yourself.
So for those who haven't been to one, it is the coolest place ever. It's like if Buc-ee's had a European flair to it. But you walk in, they have the sandwich bar. So imagine this big case, and you have all the food to choose from. You have these different sandwiches. And it's not just like, here's your ham and salami, bro. Like, I mean, it's like you're talking about these amazing super prosciutto and like, cheese, local farmer's cheese, and like all these amazing sandwiches. They have this like full-blown restaurant there where you can get freshly made pasta with roasted meats and seasonal vegetables. They call it chow. They have the gourmet market, which is a massive selection where you can buy regional specialties like giant bars of chocolate, local olive oils, antipastas, and all kinds of stuff. And then they have espresso. So imagine like all the things we've done. This has also inspired a couple of our ideas. But having this like food mecca, convenient, you're getting your gas pumped while you're doing it, and it's right there conveniently on the highway. And you're seeing that a lot. And you're seeing that with even now local companies, Wawa, Sheetz, Get Go, and local brands like the Nittany Mini Mart over in Central PA. And so it's just a cool thing to see that, people are getting back to food. So if you're a C-store out there struggling, first suggestion, Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games, powered by Pace. But right behind that is bringing in food that people want. And Shane said this in the interview. Shane said, provide value. And what better way to do that than give somebody a great meal conveniently?
No question. I mean, that is the key. And I mean, let's face it, that's a big part of our program, of our goals and initiatives. It's all about creating that value, creating that meal solution center for people, because that's the thing. Like a lot of people are getting off work and, geez, by the time I get home, and do I have the right ingredients? Can I make dinner? We don't want to eat at 8:30 at night. Like, there's just times where every family runs into that. And a lot of times it's 2 to 3 times a week. That's why when you're going through most plazas now, you see, the usual suspects, KFC, Arby's, pizza, all these quick things. But as we know, that's not a good way for longevity as far as you're living for a long time, living off that food. It's good here and there as a filler, but you want to eat fresh. People want to eat fresh. People want fresh ingredients. So the more that we can provide, more that any store can provide, those fresh meals, those prepared meals, ready to go, boom. And I mean, at Saxonburg store, you guys have done, Julie and those guys, Joe, have done a great job of putting together that program. And you've ever seen that. Now we're looking at doing that and expanding that in our other stores. Catania's doing a better and better job. We just hired Amy back. And, at Leechburg, let's face it, Leechburg, that's our main idea. So it's where it's going. It's where it's at. People want fresh. People want fast and fresh. And it creates a great opportunity for small businesses like ours.
Right. And if you look at ours, like if you look back in like even 10 years ago, our labor percentage in deli versus rest of the store might have been 10%, 15%, maybe. But now deli is such a big department. And it's very, when people don't realize when you're talking about food like that, it's a lot of work. So if you look at our deli in Saxonburg, it's 45% of the labor is deli.
Wow.
Is deli.
Wow.
So because of that, we added Christian, Julie's son. He's helped really bring on the Italian. I love Italian food. I mean,
Yeah.
I love all food.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. I mean, if you notice, most of our guests are going to be food related.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, so, having all the offerings, but now having this Italian flair. I mean, we even have alcohol removed wine, like just having that experience and quick and be able to hit that self-checkout and be in and out with parking in like 5-10 minutes is a pretty magical thing.
With a home-cooked meal.
With a home-cooked meal.
That's made, you know the ingredients.
Right.
It's fresh. It's going to meet all the macros and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's going to hit everything you want. I mean, it's going to be perfect. And so, we're going to keep doing, we're going to keep pushing that. And, that's a good retail trend because it is. I mean, you look at any progressive grocery, look at supermarket news, within the first 2-3 pages, you're going to see something about the fresh initiative.
And what's crazy too, is I think people people that make really good food, I think that when you're talking about like your business strategy, I think that like, obviously 30% should be focused on food and food creation, right? 30%. That should be all you do in 30%. But then, 40% should be how you market it to the people. Then the last percentage, 30% left? Yeah, I can still good at math. 30% left should be, how do I make this convenient for my customer?
Yeah, you have to have all three because, right now, you and I could create 25 meals that are amazing, put them in packages, set them on the side of the curb here outside your house. They're probably going to be sitting there tomorrow morning. Nobody's just going to pick them up off the curb.
Nobody's going to trust the Sprankle roadside service.
No, but I'll bet you, we're in this development here. I'll bet you if we put out there, knowing that we're in the food business, put on Facebook, home cooked meals, just made this, we're going to have it. Tell us, we'll bring it out. I'll bet you we'd sell out. If we made 30 of them, I'll bet we'd sell out.
Yeah, but first we have to go to the store using our food license.
Well, of course.
You know me.
But,
I'm a real stickler for the food license.
He's such a carrot.
Serve Safe certification, baby.
Jeez. I mean, it's a good balance because as we heard from the fire extinguisher story, I could use some, brushing up on the curbs.
Like I said, don't worry about Saxburg moving forward. I got it. So, Ryan, speaking of interesting things, one of my favorite new segments is talking about the customer and the retail stereotype that they have.
You know, it's nice because the stereotype segment, it can be jokes. Told the Harrison Ford broccoli joke, which I almost butchered it for those of you who don't know. I almost butchered it. Doug saved me with it. But anyways, it ended up being fine, landed fine. You guys watched it, got some laughs, so I appreciate you watching. But this week, it's the coupon archaeologist. Everybody knows archaeologist, historical guy. You think of Indiana Jones, you know, brushing off ancient text in the middle of a desert, wind blowing, you know, all this team of diggers and all this stuff. But the coupon archaeologist is an interesting character. We've seen it in retail many times. You know, you get this customer, especially now. Most of it now is digital. Although, fun fact, we just Shaylin store manager Katanning just put in for the physical coupons. We just got paid for our physical coupons. There was like 200 redemptions of physical coupons in 1 month at Katanning. So people are still using physical coupons, which is funny, given how much of a push, how much of the manufacturer dollars are going to digital coupons. But set that aside. So there's still people, and you know, sometimes I'm guilty of this. I'm sure you are too. You know, you get a coupon or you get a gift certificate or whatever, and it just kind of gets lost. Whether you put it in your wallet and forget about it, whether you put it in your console, forget about it, and then, you know, 2 years later, you're doing a deep cleaning of your console or you take it to a detailer or whatever, and they say, oh yeah, we found this, you know, $50 whatever at, you know, Joe's Crab Shack or whatever place. And you're like, oh, I forgot about that. You know, maybe dated 2019. You go in, you know, to the, you know, shout out Meredith and Katanning, you go in with your 2019 voucher. They're probably like, what the heck? He's been holding on to this for 7 years. But you have this, you know, out-of-date coupon or out-of-date voucher or old voucher, and you bring that, you dust it off, you bring it in and you use it. But it's funny, and sometimes people bring it in for the wrong place. You know, they'll bring in this like 1999 Giant Eagle freaking, you know, rain check into, you know, the Leechburg store. You know, hey, I want to get this cash. You know, we're very good with customer service, so we usually just
we take the beating on the chin.
we just honor it but it's like, you know, especially when it's not even the right location, especially when it's not even the right grocery store. You know, a 2018 Shop and Save gift certificate. Okay, I mean, but it's funny. There are people, you know, they're like, they find it, they're like, you know what? I'm getting my money back, baby. This baby's gonna turn into something for me. And I mean, I've done it especially with restaurant gift certificates and gift cards that you get.
Right. And to the same point, that's going to be one of my, this weekend, Week Retail History, talking about how coupons inspired gift cards. And, you know, I was going to say one thing I love, and it's just, you know, people are wild when it comes to gift cards. But my favorite is when a small business closes and they're like, well, are they going to honor their gift cards?
Oh, yeah.
Are they going to honor the gift cards?
The mad rush.
I had a gift card from 15 years ago. Are they going to honor my $10 gift card? I'm like, they're out of business. They're like, well, that's crap. I should get my money back.
I don't disagree, but you know, it's like famous expression, Vic Carlesi, one of our buddies, mutual buddies, that the trains left the station there.
Oh yeah, no,
son.
I feel like it's watching Frosty the Snowman, and like they're like, wait a minute, when did they get on the train? I'm like, an hour and a half ago.
I think Frosty melted.
Yeah. Santa already came and saved him.
Well, you know, hey, it's time, Doug, for your retail story of the week.
Mine's a kind of a double-edged sword. It's a complaint, but it's also a good story. It's about, man, making sure you watch your numbers. But the retail, when people talk about like, you know, oh, I hate switching cell phone companies or carriers. I hate switching cell phone carriers. I like how the salesmen for wholesalers are like, we can get you some better pricing. We want to switch you over from wholesalers. And for those who don't know, switching wholesalers is the biggest nightmare, right behind like power going out and losing all your stuff, fire. Like, I mean, it's up there. Switching, it's the biggest trepidation you can possibly have. And so, you know, our story, you know, we've only been with, I believe, 3 wholesalers. 4 if you count CNS.
Yeah, in 30 years we've been with 4. And fun fact, we've never left one for the other. It was IGA originally. We're IGA now, but Fleming Company went out of business, so we were left looking for a wholesaler. We went with AWI, a co-op. Then they,
well, yeah, that's where my story picks up. So, and Ryan has it's cool because Ryan's here because Ryan has like the older history, and like I'm not, I was 12. Give me some little bit of credit. So. At the time, we were part of a co-op, and for those who don't know, co-op, it basically is it's basically when you think of a company, the employee-owned company, it's the same idea of the co-op. The people invest into the co-op, and they're actually the board of supervisors that oversee the co-op, and they have shares in the company, which helps keep prices down, be more competitive, have streamlined ads and advertising. And then like for instance, if we were part of this co-op, Ryan and I might do a social media video, and then everybody else does the same video, or maybe we might be brand recognition for that co-op, and then everybody else follows suit.
You're all in it together, and you all have a vested interest. You have shares that you have to buy in over the course of so many years. You have to buy in so many shares, so everybody has a vested interest in what's happening.
Right. So in the situation we found ourselves into is AWI at the time, way back in 2006, acquired White Rose. And White Rose was more of a Northeast New York kind of warehouse, which for people who aren't familiar, that corridor is very competitive. There's a lot of issues that happens internally, and it's very hard to be competitive. But traditionally, AWI was like us. We were just a standard grocers, and we were actually on the smaller side. There was a lot bigger grocers, but there was anywhere from a $300,000 investment up to millions. And all of a sudden, ring, ring, banana phone, September 9th, 2014. They filed bankruptcy. So CNS, negotiated a deal where they basically bought them out of that, and we became CNS customers for a short period of time. So the process then started of comparing warehouses of which one we wanted to switch to. So there's a bunch of meetings, and it finally got down to, I believe at the time it was Spartan Nash and our newest friends at AWI or MDI. America's Best Food Distributor. So the MDI was there. And so we were having these meetings, and I remember it's funny to watch these sales guys come in. Cause I remember the one was like, hey guys. And he said this like 15 times. I'm gonna be the most honest guy you know. And I'm like, huh? Like who says that? We didn't go with that company, but the other company, the mustache one himself, Keith Martin.
Yeah.
He's, them and the team and Jeff and all those guys, really talked us into, this makes sense for us. The only thing, which we experienced recently was the distance. And if there's weather, ain't getting no truck. That sucks. But, is what it is. So we're there. And I remember it was, Dad was representing Sprankles. We weren't owners yet. We were just in the company. You more than me at that point, because I came in back from Virginia after that. But we were all talking about what we wanted to do. And Carol Bitter from Freeman's Markets, she represented Freeman's, and then there was Ferries. And we all decided after all of it to go with MDI. So, trucks start rolling in, things start happening. But then we get our first quarter back, and we're like, man, we got slaughtered in grocery. And now, mind you, another platform to this is being hosted versus non-hosted. What that means is hosted is like AI scrubbing your file constantly to make sure your price matches the warehouse file. So you're not selling stuff for too cheap or too expensive. But my father, bless him, he was like, you know what? This is dumb. I'm not paying for that. We'll just do it ourselves. 30,000 SKUs, 2 stores at the time, ourselves.
Well, he was trying to be cost effective, cost minded, because there is a cost with hosting. So he was trying to control costs, keep costs. And another thing to keep in mind at the time, to add to the story, AWI was a co-op, as we talked about. So we were vested. So Dad and Mom had invested over the course of so many years, so much money. And when they went belly up, they lost all that equity. So they just gotten smoked on all this money. And to your point, we had the one guy from the one company, oh, trust me, saying trust me 50 times. We had another company come in. They came in on their private jet with 20 suits. And we're like, how much money is being spent on those 20 suits in the private jet? Where's that money coming from? It's coming from their customers. So we went with a guy with a leather jacket, one briefcase, and said, we're going to give you our best price every day. And you can decide at any time you don't like it. We're gonna trust the process selling you every day, and that's why I went with MDI.
Yeah. So, things start rolling. Quarters come back in. P&L is a profit loss statement. It's basically how you judge your store versus other stores and, just basically the overall health of the company. And it happens traditionally once a quarter or every 3 months. So we noticed all of a sudden, and also part of that is cash flow. So cash flow represents, after you pay all your bills, how much money is left over in the bank. And that fluctuates dramatically depending on maintenance, depending on what the truck size was, how big of a truck you bought. So, you're managing all these numbers to try to make sure that your cash flow stays positive. But then all of a sudden, cash flow started to go.
I mean, yeah.
So,
Like a freaking, what were those Japanese fighters in World War II?
Zeros.
No, the kamikazes.
Oh, yeah. The planes was zero, though.
Yeah.
They call them zeros. So we're there, and then all of a sudden, our cohort starts saying, yeah, we're seeing, and the sad thing is our cohorts, after all this, that and some other factors led to Sprankle's being the only of the independents in that room still in operation. So we realized I think it was a sheer happenstance. When we were looking at the shelves, we noticed that our private label IGA was extremely low. And we're like, well, that's weird. And I mean, by extremely low, I mean like 80% off of what it should have been. 80% probably below cost. And I remember that's the whole store. So everything that was IGA at the time, which was our private label, so everything in the store had a private label item, was 80% off. After realizing what happened here, because we weren't hosted, the pricing for IGA at the time was Fleming pricing from 2000, I believe, 5 or 6. 2005 or 6 Fleming pricing. So it's almost like a fire sale every single day. And that was just, we were selling things at a horrible loss and mass volume. And this is right around when grocery and the independent store was still pretty powerful. And it was just slaughtering us to the point where, like I said, the other independents, when they caught it, it was already too late. And thank God we caught it. And I'm not sure exactly. I think that the warehouse helped us out a little bit, maybe they didn't. But, all those things, it was crazy because the warehouse came in and tagged the store. But that, you'd think, here's the only thing I just have to say about this. You'd think the warehouse would have did a host compare at least one time before they tagged our whole store. Because also part of it is when you redo your wholesaler, you got to tag every single tag in the entire store has to change. Because usually it's a new tag printer and a new style tag, but you got to do it through the entire store.
Well, we insisted on at the time, and to be honest with you, this was, I had a part of this decision. My name's on this decision too, but we had it in our minds that we were going to do the private zone because we wanted to do a private price zone because we felt like certain items that they had priced were too low for our market. And then there were other items that we thought were too high for our market. So we wanted to have control over our own custom zone. And we had our custom zone through our previous supplier. But like you said, our private label had switched from, I believe it was Surefine. It was a Surefine label on our private label products with AWI. And then we went to IGA, which we had before. So we didn't think about that price still being in from before. And it's just like anything else. You and I have learned that we aren't going to be able to get to all these things. So we're still fighting this battle. If there's something not working, you got to put the right person on it. You got to have it done. And we've learned that through lessons like this, where if we would have had them if we would have gotten onto one of their zones, one of their pricing zones right away and had them get on the pricing zone, they could have done a price compare. But because we insisted on being on a custom zone, they really couldn't do a price compare. So it was just a perfect storm of disaster. Thankfully, we were selling enough of our perishable departments, meat, deli, produce, and so forth, to keep it afloat until we figured out what the problem was and got it fixed. But
scary time.
What a scary, scary time. The craziest thing is nobody thought, I think from customer standpoint, they probably were excited. It probably actually helped us a little bit because they're like, whoa, because the shelf tag was correct. It wasn't like the shelf tag was $2.99 and it was in the system at 98 cents. Everything was correct because they were printing tags based on our custom zone. So it might have helped our price image because we were running prices that were 10 years old. We know in our business, it goes up 2 to 3%, sometimes 4 every year, inflation. So, I mean, people were saving a ton of money. It might have helped us. Who knows?
No, I think it almost killed us.
And it definitely almost killed us, but I'm just trying to look for a bright spot in it.
Well, a bright spot is that we still able to do the podcast. And we have a great partner at paskillalliance.org, representing genuine PA skill games across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And Ron, what a great show. What a great guest. Big shout out to our friend Shane.
Shane Schonecki is amazing. Make sure you follow him. We're going to post all the links to follow him. Make sure you follow him. Check him out. He's got some amazing things happening, as you heard earlier, and really excited to have him on. So thank you again, Shane, for joining us. Thank you to everybody out there for all the follows, and continue to follow because, hey, the follows are, that's how the bills get paid. That's how the lights go on. So hit the follow button. Tell your friends about it. Hit the follow button so we can keep telling our stories and keep having some fun here. Just a couple of brothers having some fun. So thanks for all the support. We can't do what we do without you.
Come and see us.
Hey, do me a favor.
What?
You have a natural twitch to do that, and then it throws me off.
Oh, sorry.
Because I think, is he trying to tell me something?
Oh.
I'm trying to tell a story.
You told me not to do hand signals.
No, I know, but you're like this, like naturally.
I'll put it down here.
And I'm thinking.
No, because it's this big thing.
It's distracting because I'm trying to focus and like.
Hey, no hand movements.